game. Your good buddy. Today we got a special treat here. We have a Regal Les Paul style guitar that basically I'm going to show you every step of the way from restringing this, cleaning, polishing. We're going to change pickups out. We're basically going to do kind of a whole redo on this, and we're going to do step by step, because just in noticing other videos and other people that I know that have guitars, I watch them kind of labor over some of the most simplistic of things. So we're going to, this may be remedial, or some of you folks already may know this, but a lot of you may not, and might find something helpful out of this. So here we go. The first thing we're going to dive into, like I said, some of this will be very remedial, is first thing we need to do is remove the strings on this guitar. Now everyone has their own different way of doing it. I'm going to do this in a very simplistic fashion and kind of walk you through some of the things that get involved with this. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do, take a string winder. I highly recommend getting one of these. They're like 99 cents at the counter of any store, so don't be cheap. Get one. We're going to loosen these strings up. We're not going to go all the way. We're just going to take all of the tension off of these. And obviously when you have no sound and just a thwack thwack, you're good. Okay, we did that side. Now we're going to do this side. Now sometimes what I like to do, if you're not familiar with this, is hit your string and then turn. Because sometimes when you have these three in a line on each side of the headstock, sometimes you find yourself tightening it and not loosening it. And then it breaks. And it hits your arm. And it doesn't feel good. Okay, and a lot of things people will tell you too as well, don't change all your strings that way, that's not good for it. It takes, you know, the pressure off of the neck. Well, that's kind of crap, because if you want to polish it, clean it, and buff your fretboard all out, got to take all the strings off. When you order one through the mail, usually people undo the string so there's no tension, so it doesn't break. Okay, so we have all our tension off of the fretboard, we have these all unloosened. And what we're going to do is just right up here by the nut is we're going to cut each string. And now before we do this last one, this being a Les Paul style with the stop bar tailpiece, this will come flying off. So you kind of hold it, cut that last string, and then slide that out. And then you have this big string mess, and what I like to do is take them all out at one time, and boom, that's done. I also take these and just kind of coil them up and get them out of the way, because this is trash. And then we have these. Now instead of trying to pull these all through, you can just unwind them right up here and they come out nicely. And you don't cut your fingers or poke them or get them stuck under your fingernails. This is garbage, so I'm going to dispose of this. And with the magic of technology, I'll be right back and these will be gone. Biggity bam! Alright, so that part's done. We're also going to remove this, because like I said, normally if we were just restringing, we wouldn't bother taking this part off. But being that we're kind of going to be redoing this whole thing, we're going to remove this off of there too. And I know, again, some people will advise you not to. I don't want to lose these, and we are doing this from all start to finish. So I'm just tightening those back down as to not lose them. Okay, moving onward. We're going to tip this over we're done with this stuff now. Oh, technological magic. Okay. Now our next step that we want to do, like I said, we're replacing the pickups on here. So we want to take this back plate off. This is where the cavity is. I said cavity. And I'm going to use a drill to take these out. Now it doesn't hurt to have a cup or something around to put your screws and other things that you're working with so you don't lose them. In this case, we're just going to be working right here, so I feel pretty safe we're not going to lose those. And now we need to get this off. I just use anything that's small enough to put into one of the holes and kind of lift it right out of there. Ooh, and here is our wiring. We're going to be undoing that. Alright. Okay, we got this back cover off, and we're going to remove these bottom ones because these are for the bridge pickup, which we are going to be taking out. So let's unsolder these. Right now, I'm unsoldering the pickup we are going to remove. Okay. All we had to do for this one is unsolder our ground off of here, and this is for the pickup itself, which was soldered into there, but we'll get into that when we actually solder it back in. So now let's flip our guitar back around. Now we need to take these screws out. I already took two out. We'll take the others. Again, I use a small drill. If you're uncomfortable with these, you can always use a screwdriver. And holy cats, look at that, it came right out. Okay, now is going to come the fun part. And this, everybody has a different way of doing it. Again, use the drill. So we need to take the pickup ring out of here. This cream thing, by the way, is a pickup ring. I hold my fingers in there on the spring so I don't lose that. First thing I like to look and see is if this screw, well, I can tell just by looking at it, is not going to match up. So we will have to remove these screws. Okay, and the other thing that you want to look at with your pickup ring when you go to put your pickup back in is this is not concave, it's slanted to go with the tilt degree on the guitar. So you'll have to take a look at it because it's kind of small on some of them. This one is actually very small. And look and see which is the higher end. The higher end of the pickup ring you want towards the bridge. And this is where the fun part begins. Because now you have to take this spring. A third hand would be nice, but I only got two. Smaller tip. And you have to be able to hold that spring and the screw together. Try to get it in the hole. I hold it like that. And boom, one side's on. Now we do the same to the other. And now what I also like to do before we make any adjustments with this is you notice, it's going to be a little bit harder to see now, but this pickup itself is so much fatter than the one we just put in, which means these little brackets down here, these go down a lot further than these do. So we kind of want to raise it with the spring because these springs might be a tad too long now. So I raise it as far as I can in a case like this and just kind of tuck this in there and see approximately where it is in reference to our other. That's going to be all fine and great, so we can go ahead and move on to our next step. Okay, now comes one of the more fun parts, is feeding this wire through this hole. In this guitar, we'll see if we can get it in there. There's actually, right down in this area, there's a very nice slot for all the wiring and everything that goes in there, and an equally big hole that comes out in this control panel. So this shouldn't be too bad at all. When you get into, I've noticed a lot of others that I replace, it has a hole that, you know, isn't much bigger than that you have all this wiring coming through. That's where it gets kind of tricky. With this one, we don't have that type of problem. So this one will be a lot more simpler going. So we want to feed this through. And then put our pickup in. And now, just to make sure, I'm going to hold this and make sure I have it coming out the back. Which it's not yet. So I'm going to show you a trick. While we're at it, I could just put this through real easy, but I'm going to show you a cool trick. Alright, what we got here is just a piece of wire. This is kind of going to be used as a pull string. So we make a little loop. Now the loop is going to serve two purposes. It's a lot easier to feed through here. It's not going to get hung up on anything. And we're going to make a loop on this side too. Okay, so now we'll bend that a little so it doesn't come out. And see, look at that. it back so it doesn't fall out. And we flip this back over. And we have our little loop here. What we're actually going to do is put this right on here. And now bend our little wire back. We stick this in the hole. And now for this purposes, because I know everything's going to work out just dandy, is we're going to screw this pickup back in place. And what I do to make sure it all lines up is just kind of put each one in until it grabs the hole. And there we go. And then we'll tighten it down. Look at that. We've got our wire. Okay. Now our next step is to get this soldered on there. Here comes, this is kind of a tricky part. To get a little bit of the insulation off. Don't need a lot, just need enough to be able to solder to it. Which once you get more proficient, you just need just a little bit, and that's all we need. And one of the trickier parts is getting, as you can see, you're in a very tight space, and not a lot of give on that, so. And telephone's ringing. So now we take our soldering iron. We want to clean the tip on it. And this here is also referred to as tipping. You want to get a little bit of solder just on your tip. This too is where a third hand comes in handy, but I don't have that hand. So we want to get in there. I guess I should show you this, what I do. I get in there just like this. Let's tip these while we're at it. One of the big things is to keep the wires that you are not using out of the way, because you can burn those. And there we go. One of them's there. Now we just have to get our ground down. Want to make sure we don't get any cold solder joints while doing this. Okay. We've got our ground connected as well.